you very much. Thank you. Thank God it's Friday. Now, when I was introducing the show, I did mention that I have a lady in the house, and this lady is actually, this is a Ghanaian lady, very fiery. She's called Yaa, not Asantewa, I'll tell you, you know, but she's actually suing Columbia University. Give it up, man. Now, before I introduce her, let me tell you how I first met her, maybe about 13 years ago, 13, 12 years ago. I used to host a radio program on Vibe FM back in the day. Now I'm a young man. When I was a young man, well, 13 years ago, I wasn't that young, but I was still younger. And I was doing a show on Ghanaian teenagers. And I was firing at the teenagers, you know, left, right, and center, you know. And then when we opened the phone lines, this small girl calls, some little voice be, KSM, I'm going to, you know, seriously protesting some of the things I had said and how she disagreed with me and things like that. I said, wow. I was so impressed, I invited her to be my guest the next day on Vibe. Give it up, man, give it up. Well, 13 years later, I hear there's this woman that's suing Columbia University. I did some research and I said, hey, I just a small girl over me now. Give it up, show some love for Mami Yaa Bosumtwi. You didn't get a handshake, eh? You're not a member. Oh, you should 3 times.
I've seen it. It's one thing to be doing it.
There you go, there you go. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you.
You're looking good.
Thank you. So are you.
Thank you. Well, but Mami Yaa,
yes.
I want to get straight to the chase. By the way, there's also a surprise coming up later. I want you to just hang on. I'm not going to tell you, but hang on. But Mami Yaa, you're suing Columbia University?
Yes, I'm suing Columbia University.
Wow.
I'm suing Columbia University for wrongful termination.
Wrongful termination?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
As of October 2009, I was assigned as program manager for a project in the Upper East region of Ghana.
Project manager?
Yes. Mobile Technology for Community Health, and MOTEC for short. And
Mobile Technology for Community Health.
For community health,
okay.
Yes. So I was hired in New York and moved to Ghana to come and take up responsibility for the project. And upon my arrival, I was also appointed communication point person for the project and then also the editor of our newsletter.
Okay.
And my supervisor in February of 2010, in my pursuit to have our newsletter, the research newsletter, published, asked me to omit information. Omit information about our funders and also information about Columbia University's role and Grameen Foundation role. In his request, that was a fraudulent request that he was asking me to perform.
Why did he want you to omit that information?
Well, he wanted me to play up and make Ghana Health Service, whom we're using as a conduit for research, he wanted me to omit that information to make Ghana Health Service look as though they had ownership and had the leadership role in the project we were doing in the Upper East region. And that's false information. So I refused to do that. And then started the harassment and the blackmailing, using my job as a ransom for me to perform those illegal acts. So I resisted and said I won't, because I have an ethical code of conduct that I have to oblige by. And for that matter, by March 27th, I couldn't take the harassment anymore. So I sent them an email. I sent Columbia an email and my immediate supervisor, letting him know that I was not going to breach that ethical code of conduct, and that if they wanted someone to publish that information, that would not be me, because I owe loyalty to the people of Ghana and also to my political leaders who are looking at us to report accurate information to them. So I refused. And
so you stated this to him in your email?
I stated that in the email.
The reasons you had refused?
And I had stated those reasons for 2 months. As of February 16th, when I was asked to omit the information and conceal information, I continuously, in email conversations and in phone calls that we had, where I was threatened that I would lose my job if I didn't do this, I let him know my reasons. So on March 27th, I sent an email with this notification once again that I was not going to do this. And 2 days later, I got another email letting me know that they deeply appreciate the skill and care I have taken in doing my work. However, it's regretful that they are going to have to terminate my contract.
They use the word skill and care?
Skill and care.
They use skill and care?
Yes, we deeply appreciate the skill and care that you have used in performing your duties. However, we will not be able to renew your contract as of June 30th, 2010. Because? But my contract was for the extent of the project, which was 2 years. So I knew that as of September 2011, my contract would be over and I'll be transitioning off to another Columbia University project that had been verbally talked about. So the main reason was because they could not do their dirty work. So
what was in it for them to have you omit that information? So
well,
that what?
I can only speculate, because that question is something that I did not ask, because fundamentally it's unethical and wrongful information that I was going to be giving. The only thing I can say is that foreign funders do look to the local group that is where you're working at. They look to them to be involved, and the Ghana Health Service was involved in our projects. However, they were not leading the projects. They didn't own the projects. So the only thing I can think of is that maybe they wanted them to look as though they were leading the project. I really do not know. But what I know is that it was unethical and it would have been fraudulent information to, in his words, play up Ghana Health Service to let them look like they were in a leadership role. And that is something I could not do. So that's where we are at now. And
that's great, that's great. So have you actually filed the suit?
Yes, I filed the suit on May 24th. That was this past Monday, my birthday.
You filed on your birthday. Give it a happy birthday.
It didn't happen. It just so happened that it happened on that day.
Yeah?
Yes.
So the lawsuit has been filed saying?
Well, it's been filed for wrongful termination, and right now what we are going to do is they have to be served out of the United States. So on Thursday, we're going to appear before a judge to request for the leave of jurisdiction. And that's the legal process, and then they'll be served, yes.
Okay, so, but are they aware of this, that you're planning a lawsuit?
Yes, they are aware. They are aware of this. We went to Bolgatanga in demonstration, which I guess we're going to be getting into. Yeah. They're aware of this beforehand. So
and how much are you suing them for? Can you tell?
$50 million.
Whoa.
And really, the $50 million is still not enough for the. It's priceless. What I had to go through, and me having to stand my ground and making sure that information reported back to our policymakers was not trampled on. $50 million is still, it's a significant amount to send a message out that you cannot come in from outside being a foreign funder and blackmail and coerce your employees to do what you want when you're operating in a different country. You can't just break the laws with impunity. And that's the message. It's not so much for financial gain, but it's to send a strong message that you cannot come into a country and behave like this because you have foreign money coming in.
It's getting more and more exciting. There's another thing that is also on the plate. It's not just the lawsuit against Colombia.
Right.
You have eventually mounted a campaign that I saw on the news.
Yes.
It was equal pay for equal work, or?
Yes, equal pay for equal work. And that is in conjunction with the Justice and Human Rights Institute, spearheaded by Professor Kenatifa. And it was my experience in working for MOTEC. As program manager, I was in charge of budgets, and I discovered that people who were hired in Ghana were being paid at a vast different rate compared to someone like myself who was hired in New York and then moved to come and work in the Upper East region of Ghana. So that disparity is a violation of the labor code. We have a labor law, 2003, and that is that people doing the work of same value are supposed to be paid equally. In my case, I was being paid as higher as 80 to 70% more than my counterpart who has the same degree as I do. The only difference is that he went to school in Ghana and I went to school at Columbia University. Now, to make that argument that his work is of any less value is ridiculous. We work together, and if anything, he has a lot of experience in the research that we're doing in the Navrongo Research Center.
Okay. Somebody will say, well, what do you care? You are getting your cash. They are paying X amount of money. They have decided that somebody else they are paying. What do you care? Why are you fighting for it? Why don't you just be happy with what you're taking? And
well,
but I'll get that question when we come up from the commercial break. So think about that question. We're going for commercial break. When we come back, she's going to answer that question, and also there's a surprise. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The naturally unique, non-alcoholic malt drink with a great taste of pear or pineapple. Alvaro, naturally you.
Come join us celebrate and welcome our new baby bottle. Casa Prekukuku Liquor. Yaa Bosumtwi.
Hey, 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 hey. Come on and live your dream too.
It's up for grabs right at your doorstep. 75,000 Ghana cedis every week for 10 weeks. And you could be the one to win it in the Zen Live Your Dream 2 promotion. To win, load 2 Ghana cedis or use 50 Ghana pesos talk time per day to get an entry to the weekly draw. Lots of other great prizes also on offer.
Come on and live your dream too.
Zen, a wonderful world.
Shift gears on your Nokia X6, Need for Speed, Asphalt 4, and thousands of other games are available for your Nokia X6. Come play.
All right, we're back. We are back. Thank you. And just before the commercial break, I was asking, what do you care? You're making good money. Is it your position to change policy? Why don't you make your cash and be happy?
That sounds fine in an ordinary world, but then we all have a conscience. And for me to be working at a place where I see what I am having as an advantage and the comfort that I have, and to know that someone who has the same degree as I do has to be discriminated against because of where they were hired or what their nationality is, I think it's hard for me to just cast a blind eye on that and go about my personal business. I would like to call myself a change agent. And I think if we all, as people in this country, have that mentality to look at our neighbor and say, this is unjust treat, we will all be moving forward in a very progressive way. So it's just something that I cannot be quiet about. If I have the capacity to organize and the knowledge that it is unjust, why not act on it? People have called this a personal campaign, and I can say that yes, it is personal because it's injustice that touched me personally. And I always give the story of Rosa Parks in the United States, who in the 60s, when black people were supposed to sit at the back of the bus or get up when a white man was coming or a white person was coming, she, on a day that she had worked tirelessly, decided to take it personal, not to get up for the white man. And that was one of the personal movements that someone did to spark the civil rights movement. And segregation in its own way has ended. So if someone like Rosa Parks had not taken it personally, we wouldn't have had the change that we have. So
Okay, so you've taken
take
this
that.
personally.
Personally,
Okay.
and with a level of consciousness that you cannot just think of your interest and your comfort and be happy about it.
Yeah. Okay. Let me be a doomsday advocate. Say the lawsuit with Colombia. Let's say they rule in their favor that they had the right to do whatever. I'm just and nothing really changes on the ground in terms of the policy. In terms of equal pay for equal work, it's still the same. How would you feel? Would you feel like it was not worth it?
No.
How would you handle that?
I don't think I'll feel like it was not worth it. And I haven't even thought about that because the perspective that I'm looking at it is with all positive energy. I have received very, very positive feedback. The only negative feedback has been from the oppressors themselves. And so I will feel a loss, but I do have trust in our Ghanaian government, and also I do have trust in the rule of law here, and I hope that it prevails.
You're up. And by the way, you have there are some people that have openly come out to support your crusade.
Yes, yes.
And one of them is here.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, I told you I had a surprise, and this is not a guy that we associate with the crusades and working for justice. We just love him because he sings so well, and I think by far he's like the greatest entertainer when he gets on stage. Show some love for the man, Samini! All right. All right. Thank you. Samini in the house. I told you we had a surprise coming. Samini, welcome to TGIF. By the way, the time you decided to change your name from Batman to Samini, you did it here.
I did it here.
All right. Give it up for TGIF.
This was the platform. This was the platform for that very important and positive movement. And it's like one of the best things that ever happened to me in my entire career, because I needed to brand myself as a Ghanaian artist. And Batman was becoming more like a confusion when I went out there. I always had to explain which Batman I was talking about. Okay. But these days I don't need to do that with Samini.
There's only one Samini. Give it up, man. But Samini's here with us this evening because he's been one of those strong supporters of Yaa's cause. Well, it's a national cause, really. Another person that has also been supporting actively that we know is Akosua Japan. She's not able to join us. But Samini, what made you join this crusade?
I think it's a positive movement. And as an artist, I owe the society my social responsibility. So if someone brings such a movement, such an initiative, and it's a platform for me to jump on and show what I can do with my strength and my influence for the people, why not? And Yaa and the whole concept that she brought I couldn't say no to it. You know, so this is a movement that I think it also reflects in my field, because we are entertainers in this country, and we have entertainers come from different parts of the world, and sometimes we are made to believe that we have to go grace the occasion and get media publicity from it. So sometimes we're not even paid, you know, and I think that that's one way that I directly face what she's talking about. So I'm on board to fight for us all.
All right, beautiful. And it's interesting that you raised the question of entertainment as well, how it's applicable to entertainment industry, because I know that they'll bring some big names from the US or wherever, pay them huge sums of money, and give the Ghanaians whom they use for the publicity some peanuts. And
then they sometimes expect you to underperform, or they don't even want to meet your rider, all of that in favor of the one that's coming from outside. I remember I used to go to the bank and take my own money to fund a band so that I can get to prove to Ghana that I can play with the band. Because anytime I wanted to tell the media organization or whoever it was that was putting up the show, they said I was being too big-headed. Until I funded my own thing to make them know that I can do it. Then I went back to cross my leg and said, "Me boy say, wait to me and not my
Thank you.
When I listened to Samini and Akusia Japan also cross the bridge of how I'm a public health researcher, and I can have the same conversation with an artist who also can relate to this. It just brings everything in perspective, and it brings to mind, we're here celebrating Kwame Nkrumah, and it brings to mind what Kwame Nkrumah had said in relation to there being a new African who can manage his own affairs, his or her own affairs. And that is the message this has to send to the rest of the world, that this is a country, we are one people, we have intellectuals here, we have beautiful intellectuals, beautiful artists, but please, when you do come here, treat us with integrity. And that has to do with the kind of pay that people receive. And the pay that you receive and the conditions, the working conditions that people are working under, because they're working for a foreign corporation, they keep quiet and have to succumb to so many indignities. So
since you've been on this crusade, are you getting feedback from other areas too? I mean, you're talking about,
Yes. So far, I've got some feedback from some NGOs, people working within NGOs, and then also commercial companies here. And you get a mixture of salary problems and then also just violation of labor laws.
With the NGOs, what was the beef coming from there?
With the specific example that I have and I'm working with right now, it has to do with an NGO that is currently closing down. And they've been here for 10 years. And in their departure, they're giving the Ghanaian employees a severance package of 4 months severance package, regardless of how long you've worked in the NGO. And they've asked them to give them a better deal. And when the director refused to listen to them, they took her to the Labor Commission. That move that the employees made propelled her to let them know that she was going to do everything to make sure that they do not receive their severance pay at all. And this NGO is leaving the country in June.
And
so
they wouldn't even get paid at all for reporting it to the labor?
For reporting that, she said that money that they would use as severance to pay them, they are now going to use that to bribe lawyers and judges.
That's what
the director has assured them. So I was informed of this, and we're trying to see how best we can assist them, and that is getting the Justice and Human Rights Institute involved. But this is just a needle in the haystack. Several situations like that.
So did I hear you were doing something like a signature drive or something?
It's going to be, we're doing a petition campaign. So we're asking Madam Mold Idrisu, our Attorney General, to look at enforcing the Equal Pay for Equal Work campaign, the law that is currently in place. So we have a petition We went up to Bolgatanga to protest Columbia University's illegal work practices there to their employees. And in doing that, we also had the petition for people to sign. And we're ongoing with that so that we can present it to our policymakers so that they can strategize in enforcing the law.
Samini, what actively, I know you support the cause, you've said that. What are you doing actively as part of this crusade from your end?
The first forum, or can I call it a summit, was held at the Legon campus. And I was privileged to get to meet the students' body again and get to interact with them and speak with them. So I showed them my idea also and how it affected me personally and my field. So I just empowered them to look into the law so that they know what they are being denied of, and they know exactly what they're fighting for, so that they know what to even write on the demonstration plaque, so that they know what they mean what they say, and they know what they're saying. So that's my area. I'm just pushing for everybody that's directly affected to look into what law that is there that's going to prevent you from going through this in subsequent years, you know. And as an artist, anytime there's a gathering that we need to entertain the people before something happens, I'll be there. Yeah, to give them a tune or two, freestyle or two.
That's great, that's great, that's great. And another thing that I don't know whether, I think I read that somewhere after your event at Legon, that you also had an issue against Colombia for taxes?
Well, yes. So before all this happened with wanting me to put in fraudulent information, one of the questions I raised when I initially received my paycheck was that I'm working in Ghana and taxes were being taken out from the US. So that did not make sense to me. If I'm working in Ghana and I'm using resources in Ghana, if anything, I should pay taxes to Ghana. And when I asked my supervisor that question, he said he'll get back to me and that I should not complicate things with the way they are doing their
So
paychecks.
basically you're insisting that the taxes that were being taken out of your paycheck should be paid to...
I should be paying taxes to Ghana. I'm working in Ghana. I was hired in the US, but all the services that I'm providing are in Ghana. So why am I paying taxes to the US and no taxes are being taken out here? So that's the question I asked, and I still have not received an answer. The answer was that they'll look into it and get back to me. And when I asked the question the second time, I was told not to complicate matters and that everybody is being paid the same way using the same process. So they'll get back to me.
Quick question. How did you get the job?
I went to Columbia University. That's where I got my master's in public health. So I was on the Columbia University website and there was a job posting for Ghana, and that was an excellent way for me to come back. I've always wanted to serve in a rural area in Ghana, and Bolgatanga has been my love since I was 10 years old. So it all fit well in the package. So I applied for the job, and that's my old school. So I just went ahead and got interviewed, and I got the job.
Were they looking for a Ghanaian, or they were just looking for somebody to relocate to Ghana and do the work?
They didn't say they were looking for a Ghanaian. I just applied for the job, and it just so happened that I was a Ghanaian.
Now that they have totally regretted, I'm sure, having hired you, now that you're in Ghana, because you were not hired from Ghana, but in the US, you did your interview in the US?
Yes.
You don't think they have a case saying, well, you know, we opened the thing up to the whole world. It was at an international level.
Okay.
And you applied, and you got the job on that level. Your counterparts in Ghana haven't gone through that level, that application process. They were hired as, quote unquote, locals in their community. Wouldn't that justify why they would pay you different?
No, actually, the local hire label is just an insidious way to go away from what you really should be doing as an employer. When I am given services, and someone who was also hired in Ghana is able and capable to perform the same services, I believe the employment process should not have an influence on how someone is paid. If they had to go through a strenuous employment process, that's good and well. I think that their salary can be higher than someone who was in Ghana, but not 80 to 90% higher. It's just too much.
You can't justify that
You
disparity.
cannot. You cannot. They hired people, okay, that's good and well, but it does not mean that the employment process should determine why someone should be paid 80 to 90% more.
I know my people, you know, they say, oh, you too, you know, let it go. You know, just be happy and God will take care of things.
Yes,
do you get that a lot?
Yes, I have. I actually have a good friend now whom I don't know, but he calls me quite often. He wouldn't let me know who he is, but he calls me and prays for me and says, God has seen what I'm doing, so it's enough, I should let go. And my good friend, I hope I get to meet him someday. I've always let him know that I'm thankful for God's blessings. However, I think God will also be upset with me if I just let things go.
Give it up, man.
So,
I like that. I like that. Samini, your thoughts on that? Our psyche, you know, because that's the first instinct. Oh, you see what I'm saying? As a young guy growing up in a system that has that kind of psyche, how do you deal with it? Like what she's going through?
I think it's a selfish mentality that people
have. It's a selfish mentality.
Yeah, it's a selfish mentality. We have to grow out of that kind of thing that if it's good for you, then it's good. So once it doesn't directly affect you, keep quiet and chill. You know, like the saying goes, if you see your neighbor's beard on fire, find a cup of water, because the next moment it could be your beard on fire. So what she's doing is she's trying to safeguard the future so that in the near future, well, she was hired from there. So in the near future, when her sister gets hired from here, she's not going to be underpaid because of this move. So I think that we have to,
Fantastic. And folks, I think we should be learning some serious lessons from what we're watching tonight. You know, Yaa's crusade, Samini's support, to say that if we try and be happily selfish, we don't get anywhere as a nation. And you have made a great sacrifice, you know, because I know how much they were paying you. And if I should tell the guy, if I should tell them right now, now when you're the this guy, no, you know. So it's a great sacrifice.
Yes.
And as young as you are and as focused as you are, and to have, you know, both of you, that kind of determination to mount a crusade like this for justice, I'm totally impressed.
thank you.
Your final words?
Well, my final words just lies in the selflessness that we as Ghanaians should have. I think there are several African countries we watch on the news every day. There's always anarchy, unrest, and we should not look to just our political leaders to influence peace. As civilians every day going about our business, just thinking about the other person who is less privileged, or seeing how we can help somebody. It doesn't take having a lot of money to help someone. It's just having the care and also just fighting for the injustices that goes on every day. That leads to less the fear of there being unrest. When your neighbor is doing well, you're not envious. When you know your neighbor is doing well and they care about you, you don't sit there and you're not envious. This is how we can maintain peace. We should not just look to our political leaders to make sure there's peace.
Amen to that. Thank you. And Samini, your final words?
I would just like to say that I appreciate the fact that this movement was shown to me, or I was introduced to this movement, and I'm proud to be on board. One day I can stand and say I am a part of the movement that fought for that positive change that made us get to the level we are at right now. And as an artist, I think it's an eye-opener for me because I have faced this problem since day one. And I never thought we could even call for or cry foul for that particular thing that is going on. So from today, people can know that it's time to cry foul. You know, even local nurses and teachers and stuff are hustling as to how to get proper pay or due pay. So then if you're coming from out there to come here and come and underpay people and even don't pay people, then why are you here then? If you're here, you have to be here with a difference. Otherwise, just let's just be. Yeah.
Give it up. And I did say finally, is there a number you can leave? People may be going through their own sorts of things that may want to call you now that you have become the quote-unquote Yaa Santua for another crusade.
Yes, you can email me at yaaforjustice@gmail.com.
Yaaforjustice@gmail.com. That's on your screen right now. For those of you who just have cases that you want to report, you know, do so. And for those of you out there, young guys like you people out there, I mean, I'm impressed because you're very young. This is like the fire of a new generation. Eh? I love it. Give it up, man. I love it. You know, this is the fire of a new generation. So for those of you in this age group, young guys and girls, and who also want to make it count, call and join the movement. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And I hope you kick them in the
a quick one to my fans out there. I know they've been worrying about when the next album is coming.
Yes, I was going to.
Right now, all attention is on the Black Stars. We're taking them to South Africa to make sure we bring the gold. Then I'll release the album after. So the album will come right after the World Cup. So y'all enjoy.
All right.
Enjoy the Sweet Mistake video, and then I'll follow up with some more. One love.
Fantastic. Samini. All right, folks, stick around. We'll be right back.